What's going on, everybody? David Schiele here as the Bucs are off to the best start since 2021. They are 6-2 as they enter their bye week. They beat the Saints in New Orleans 23-3 on Sunday. Ever since the 2021 season when they lost to New Orleans in the Superdome, the Bucs have gone into that building and won every year since then. So that's become a good place for the Buccaneers, especially for the defense. We're going to talk about how great of a day they had as a unit, but let's start with this man, number 98, Anthony Nelson. What a first half for him. A sack, a forced fumble, and a pick six. He deflected a pass himself, got it, and then he told Spencer Rattler, get off of me, as he just waltzed into the end zone. First career touchdown for this guy after his first career interception. Ended up with a second sack in the second half against Tyler Shuck, who came in to replace Spencer Rattler because it was just that bad of a game for him. Just a really, really awesome game for Anthony Nelson. Really happy for that guy. He's a great guy to speak to if you ever get a chance to meet him. He's been with the Bucs for a long time, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay back in 2020. So such a great game for a guy who had to step up because Hassan Reddick is set to miss time with the ankle and knee injury that he's dealing with. We don't know how long Reddick is going to be out. We just know he's just going to miss some time, and this guy really stepped up in a big way. Defense as a whole, the Saints did not run a play in Buccaneers territory until the second half. It might have been, I think, 7 minutes left in the entire ball game when they finally got into plus territory. So the defense as a whole really did their thing. 5 sacks, 4 takeaways. And now let's talk about the controversy, because Anthony Nelson should not have had the only defensive touchdown for the Bucs. Antoine Winfield Jr. should have had 2 defensive touchdowns. There was a scoop and score right before halftime, but an erroneous whistle was blown from the other side of the field. So an official who was 50 yards away from the play decided, I think this play is over, slightly blew his whistle. Now, through the TV broadcast, you couldn't hear it because they actually showed a replay, let the natural sound just play, and you couldn't hear a whistle. However, we have a sister station down in New Orleans, and they had a camera guy on the field when that play happened. They sent us the footage, and I can't play it for you because NFL rules won't allow us to play. But you can slightly, like I had headphones on, and slightly I did hear a whistle. So there was actually a whistle blown. So you can't say, well, there was no whistle blown. There actually was. It was just very, very slight. And it takes you having to put it like on video and then wearing headphones to hear it. So it was that quiet. So of course the players didn't hear it because none of the players stopped running. Winfield goes into the end zone, and then the touchdown gets taken away. So instead of being up 14-0, the Bucs instead just had to be on offense. Baker Mayfield is stripped, and then the Saints get a field goal. So that was just it was a mess. Good thing it didn't directly affect the result of this contest, or else I think heads would be rolling at the league office. And then Winfield had an interception, an awesome interception in the second half. It was ruled that he was down by contact, but when you slow the play down, he was not down by contact because he didn't even have possession of the ball yet while he was contacted. So by the time he had possession of the football, no one was touching him. And then he got up and ran towards the end zone, and somebody decided, I think he was down, so they blew the whistle, and Tampa Bay, again, was robbed of 6 points. The rule is, if a whistle is blown, the play is dead. That's the NFL rule. Now, there are some exceptions, not many, but there are some. So, like, if there was a fumble and the referee blows the whistle, they go to replay and they can see a clear and obvious recovery for one of the teams, they can reward the recovering team the football. So they can do something like that. However, if a ball is fumbled and a whistle is blown and it's picked up and run for a touchdown, they can reward the clear and obvious recovery, but they cannot reward the advancement of the football after the recovery. That's just the NFL rules. You can't review that stuff. Like, did a whistle blow? Did we mean to blow the whistle? Once the whistle is blown, the play is dead. That's the NFL rule. So it is what it is. It's been a weird year for officiating. We just had a referee in the SEC get suspended for the rest of 2025 because his crew had such a controversial game with Georgia and Auburn. And I believe some similar accountability should be had at the NFL level. But, it is what it is. The Bucs won the game, right? The Bucs won the game. That's the most important thing. There are some things to work on, and that's on the offensive side of the ball. Just because you don't have Mike Evans and you don't have Chris Godwin and you don't have Bucky Irving, it does not mean you need to run 8 plays from the 1-yard line to score 1 touchdown. You should never have to do that. That should not happen, especially against the New Orleans Saints team that has not been good against the run this year. But, of course, it's a rivalry game. I get it. And Baker Mayfield had some things to say about the Saints in the offseason, doubled down on it going into the contest. So, it is what it is. But, again, you got Tristan Wirfs, you got Graham Barton up there. Like, you've got a good offensive line, and you can't run the ball in? I mean, my goodness, that was hard to watch. Also, there was a fade thrown to Sterling Shepard. I don't know why there's not a bigger uproar about that. Sterling Shepard is 5'10". You run fades to like Megatron back in the day, to Julio Jones, to Mike Evans, not Sterling Shepard, who's 5'10". So it was kind of weird. I think the honeymoon phase with Josh Grizzard is pretty much ending. I know there's injuries, but I think the honeymoon phase has ended, and some play calling does need to be improved in this bye week. Because the Bucs won, Todd Bowles made a deal with his guys, and he said, I will give you the whole week off. So the Bucs do have the entire week off. They're not going to practice this week at all to try to work on some of this stuff. They're gonna rest, they're gonna recover, which they need to do. They have a lot of guys who are hurting that need to come back healthy, because coming out of the bye week, it's a tough game. 2 tough games, actually. You got the Patriots at home, and then you're at the Bills. The Patriots have won 5 straight games, and the Bills are the Bills. I mean, that's a really good team. They embarrassed the Panthers on Sunday. But speaking of embarrassment, by the way, the Falcons got embarrassed by the Dolphins. So it was a fantastic day for the Buccaneers. So they beat the Saints. Falcons lose, Panthers lose. The Buccaneers control their destiny in the NFC South. They have a bit of a cushion at the top of the division. You win the division, you host a home playoff game. We know how that whole thing goes. And if you're in the dance, you have a chance, which means this team can indeed compete for a Super Bowl. A long way to go, though. A long way to go. 8 games down, 9 games to go. It used to be very nice to play 8 games and have a bye week and then another 8 games, but it's going to be a serious 9 games. You got to play the Saints one more time. You got to play the Falcons one more time. Thankfully, both of those games will be at home. You're going to have to play the Panthers twice. I just mentioned having to play the Bills and the Patriots. There are some really good games coming up, especially within the division, where I think you do have to throw the records out of the window. But right now, Bucs are 6-2. A lot to be happy about. It's their best start since 2021.